1 2 1 2. And I said 1 2. It's your boy KARCENO here. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button to the page. Oh, it's finna go down tonight. uh this will be the lead-in video to the one that's going on Patreon. So the Patreons, if you hear this, the video over there, the beginning is here. Now, Nas has just dropped his album and it's taken off. It was written. His second single that he released was Street Dreams. Now, as he recorded Street Dreams, and it got hot, R. Kelly was blowing up in a huge way at the same time. So they was like, this dude is off the charts. You know, his records is flying off the ceiling. R. Kelly's the man. You know, everybody's waiting on that next album. He's been doing these projects, writing for everybody. So they was like, we need to come in here and, you know, get on a song with him. So Nas was the first dude really to reach out and do a song with R. Kelly. None of these other dudes was really thinking about it. So R. Kelly was in Chicago. Nas came all the way out here and they did a remix for Street Dreams. So Nas is driving on Lakeshore Drive, the LSD. So he's driving on Lakeshore Drive, coming up here in Chicago, recording a video, and R. Kelly's like nowhere to be found. Like he's supposed to meet there, he's late. He's caring about all these ratchet women. He's locking themselves in the room, don't want to come out, and then when he does, it's for limited time. He's worried about all this ancillary bullshit going on around him instead of like, and Nas is like, what's going on here? This thing is weird, dealing with dudes. So he came there, he did the song with him. And this is at a time when people didn't pay you for features, like you ain't getting paid to do the song really. They was like, look, here's what we'll do. Especially if it was somebody like that. You jump on my stuff, I get on yours. Right? So after the Street Dreams remix come out and everything, and it was like vibing real good, Puff reached out to R. Kelly. It's like, yo, man, that song you did with Nas, man, that's tight. Nah, that's a good warm up. I think you ready for the King of New York. Yeah, you ready for B.I.G. Yeah, because he been wanting to get down on something you got. And he had his new album coming out. And that You Remind Me, and next thing you know, Big is on there. So Biggie's on that album. And what's that? Be Happy, I believe it was. I made you. Why would I play you? Think about it while the streets you roam as Don P and Chris Steez, and we'll speak when we get home. So anyway. So that's that. Moving on from that situation, they decided, okay, he's working with Big, right? So they did a song for each other. So he's gonna be on the Biggie album. And that I'm effing you tonight. And R. Kelly didn't want to do the song. Cause he had just got this deal now. He's doing all this Christian type music. So he was like, man, I can't really go this route, you know. So after he did the song, and they gave him a big check because I believe you can fly and all this stuff took off. I believe I can fly. So Space Jam comes out, it just kills everything. R. Kelly's going through a whole new plateau, new door. He's doing all this inspirational music. And now, when it gets to this point, they come with, hey, this is a big check for you. Now you can't go back to the raunchy stuff. Now you doing this inspirational music. This is where the big money is. So R. Kelly's blowing up. So all that raunchy club music stuff is gone. He been doing I've been saved route. And he's working with Big. Nas was like, oh, all right, I guess that's what it is then. Cool. He working with Big. Bet. Now, after this is done, they was like, all right, cool. We're gonna do some shows together and perform. And Buddy Boy, did that ever go left? So they was like, man, we supposed to get this guy on the tour. I think R. Kelly and Nas fell out in like 4 dates. They had like on the third, fourth date, R. Kelly and Nas didn't make it. Cause after they did a remix version, a radio version called I'm Loving You Tonight with R. Kelly and Biggie. But when Big died, that killed that momentum. Cause R. Kelly was like, man, I was just thinking if me and that dude did an album together, it would be, man, wicked. He the best on the East, and I'm the Midwest. We coming together and doing an album. So Nas was like, man, I was thinking of doing that with you. And he was like, yeah, but now Big gone. I can do it with Nas, because Nas is the man. Jay-Z at that time wasn't we was a nobody. He was known for being Big E's homeboy. He was a nobody in the game, really, to everybody else. Like Nas and the rest of them, he was not at that level. So R. Kelly wasn't even thinking about him. So in '97, shortly after Big died, R. Kelly and he's working on this album and this song, and he came out with this. He's like, I'm finna do a remix to a song, and I want you on it, and then we'll see how the response go. Then we'll do this show and do these tours. I'm gonna come on your show, and you can come on mine. So he came and got in the video, did the song for him. Did you ever think that you would be this rich? I'm quite sure y'all seen it. Did you ever think that you would be this rich? Did you ever think that you would have this job? So anyhow, 50 Cent used that in the How to Rob song and and everything. So yeah, that was that. Now, after this went down, R. Kelly and Nas was talking about doing a joint album. Like he was like, man, we'll just have like I do some tracks because Nas was like, it'd be like one album yours and the other album mine. We could do like a double CD. See, because at that time, double CD was that was the new wave. Pac came out with the double CD. Ever since then, Young Mouth had a double CD. Biggie double CD, and that was it. It was like double CDs, double CDs, double CD. Because now artists realize, oh, this gonna count for 2 albums in my deal. Oh, I could have been dropping double CDs, but you know, this was the new norm. Now it worked for Biggie and Pac, but the fact is, Biggie was never around to see the success. Pac saw a couple of months of the success, and neither one of them were here to reap the benefits of their rewards for all the labor they put out. So Nas originally wanted to do 2 CDs, like one side that's a Nas like album, and R. Kelly is featuring on those songs, and on the other album, it's more of a R. Kelly R&B vibe, and then Nas will be appearing on some of the songs on the other album. But it would be like R. Kelly's theme album. He's like, that'll be your style, and then I got my style like a Nas album. Then you'll be featured on some of the songs on the first one. But you do like maybe 4, 5 songs. Then on the second album, I do like 4, 5 songs, featuring over there. And then we got like a double album. And R. Kelly was cool with that. And Outkast used kind of like that format where one side was Andre's album, the other side was Big Boy's album. And that ended up being their most successful album. So with Hey Ya, and then I like the way you move, two like number one songs on two different uh albums. That was crazy. On the same album, on the double CD. Both was out at the same time. Now, when everybody started talking big picture, like what's the big picture here? We gotta look at the big picture. We need to see the big picture. What is the big picture then? That's what I want to know. What's the big picture? You tell me, because I'm not seeing it really. And that's how Nas was, because he fell out with them when he ran into Timberland. He was working on his album, and he tried to do this little tour with R. Kelly, and it just wasn't working out. After 3, 4 shows, R. Kelly was late. He was taking up too much space. He's arguing with dancers. Nas had 4 dancers who was behind him. They was like doing steps and everything else, but it wasn't nothing severe. He had 4 dancers. R. Kelly didn't want them. No, they can't be in here in this area. They can only be in that area, and you need to keep your people on that side. Now they've had these conversations about doing a joint album together and all that. And R. Kelly talked about it. You the king of New York. The same stuff he was talking about with Big. Nas was now that guy. Then things flipped and went all the way around. When Nas was working on his next album, It Was Written, he was doing the double CD. He wasn't even thinking about R. Kelly no more. That was it. That was dead in the water. So he started working with Aaliyah because he had heard some things that went on with R. Kelly and Aaliyah. So, he started working with Timberland and working about getting with Aaliyah to get her on the album. He's like, I want to work with her. One, because he knew it was gonna piss off R. Kelly. Two, two, Nas never wanted to work with R. Kelly again after the tour, and the way his attitude was. So he was done on R. Kelly. Now, when you get to this part with Aaliyah, this goes into a situation where her and Nas vibed as artists, real clear. And she was like, I know you friends with R. Kelly and all that. He might try to, stop stuff for me being on the album or anything, but we have an understanding. So that's what Barry said. Hey, Uncle Barry was like, look, this is happening. Like he ain't in the way. They don't even deal with each other no more. And that's when Nas was like, I don't deal with homie no more. He weird. And once he said that, she was like lock and step with Nas. When she knew Nas had nothing to do with R. Kelly and he ain't gonna be on the album, nothing, because she was scared that she gonna be on the album, then R. Kelly will be on another song. Nas was very content that R. Kelly won't be nowhere near him when he's making his album. So that was important. Now, fast forward. He's considered a weirdo. You Won't See Me Tonight is out. Nas is taking off. Jay-Z blows up in 98. Now, once Jay-Z blows up in 98, R. Kelly is now like, okay, well, Jay-Z is now the man. I got to get up with Jay-Z. Nas is, yeah, he's weird. He a nobody. He's a little guy. He ain't made like Jay. Jay is about balling and he about doing what we doing for real. So now that Jay-Z blows up with DMX and everything, they were like, okay, let's get this done. So right away, he comes straight through the door like a beeline. Him and Jay-Z meet. They do the Fiesta remix. And he did the Not Guilty on the third album. And once he got on Fiesta for him, it created a whole new vortex. Because after that 98, Jay blew up off a Hard Knock Life. R. Kelly was, coming around getting close to these dudes. So it'd be some time before they, did the album, but it's what it is. They sit there and Nas is clicked up with Aaliyah, and they got You Won't See Me Tonight, and Aaliyah's hanging with Nas. R. Kelly didn't like that one bit. And then that song came out, and it was high. And right after that, it gets even more crazy. Nas goes ahead and says, look, I can't do this. Like the Queen, Aaliyah, and all that. Like she really liked Nas. She was into him. And she was, that's how Aaliyah is. When she seems to develop a crush real quick on the vibe of people. Like she really was vibing with Nas. She really was crushing on him. And they was working together. But Nas is Nas. He was too busy in his lane to be focused on trying to see if he can get up with Aaliyah. That was the furthest thing from his mind. So he just wanted to bond and make this music. And she was like trying to get her own identity off the ground. She was into that. Like she want to be taken seriously. So when this album was out, because after One in a Million and her own album she did with Missy produced it, and then Missy and Nas was really cool, and Timberland, it became a good union with them. So while they was unified at this time, Jay was coming into power. So now it's Jay and DMX. So they getting ready to do it big, and Hype Williams had came around and was talking like, "Hey, we finna do this movie. We finna do X, Y, and Z." And all of a sudden, everything like went left because they got the Belly coming out, and Belly getting ready to drop. And when Belly come out, there's no Jay-Z. It's Nas, Method Man, DMX, and it's like, okay, DMX and Nas, like this don't even seem right. It should be Jay there. When the movie comes out, everybody's like, "Where's Jay Z?" Like Jay Z should be in this. How's Nas? Nas don't even seem like he fit. But see, that's what people don't normally see. With Nas, it's always been that way. Always been that way. He's always been the guy that people look at and misuse or whatever. But in the movie, it works because you need to show the contrast of different energies, right? DMX energy versus Nas's energy. They're two different vibes altogether. Even though they have a common ground, both of them are way different in how they move. Now, with this whole process playing out, Jay Z knew, like I knew, that this ain't gonna work. I gotta change it up. I need a new direction. I need a new angle here. And he heard that with Aaliyah, and so he started trying to get with Aaliyah. Start bringing them over to the parties and based on these events, and they rock nation it out, right? So now Aaliyah is hanging around with them because she was at Diddy's party, the one with the big gigantic bed, and she's over there hanging around with Rockefeller and Missy hanging out with Jay Z and Timberland. So the same people that was around Nas is now allotting themselves with Jay Z. And they're spreading the narrative. Oh, Nas is done, man. He's too quiet. He ain't in the mix no more. And he's not really relevant now. And they like put him at like as the top artist in the game. They put him at like 6. It's like what? Jay was all mainstream now. So he's the man. He's on every remix. He's on soundtracks. He's making all the club records. He's on everything moving. So now the game is different. It's all done changed. Now these people can't wait to say something crazy. So Nas and Aaliyah thing was so small. And now it's gone and rotated over to Jay. R. Kelly, who was cool with Jay, hadn't really done any work with him yet. Jay is trying to get up with Aaliyah. That's his thing. That's what he wants to be his main girl. He wants Aaliyah to be his main girl, and he gonna be the Bonnie and Clyde. That's what he wanted to do. The same thing he did with Foxy Brown, Bonnie and Clyde. That's what he loved to quote and tell these women. So he wanted Aaliyah to be that other side. He wanted to do it with a girl that's more R&B ish, because Foxy was like, "Oh, you gonna make Bonnie and Clyde supposed to be us?" He was like, "No, I need it from an R&B side. I need that energy, like you and Blackstreet. That's why it works so well because you had the rap and they had the R&B. I need that from R&B. I'm gonna be doing the rapping, and I need that Bonnie to be that R&B. You can't just be two rappers on the record. It's kind of crazy." So when Nas found out, like all of them was, basically in cahoots, he's seeing Aaliyah on Jay's arm at these parties. Nas is just like, "Damn, word." So yeah, he was telling about his name and all this stuff. See, Nas mean king. Nasir, it's my real name. I don't got a rap name. Yeah, Nasir, man, it's my name. So yeah, word. So that's his whole thing. Like, I don't got no rap name. That's what he tell him. I ain't got no rap name. I'm just me. But other than that, they didn't really have anything in common besides working. Nas was hanging out at all these functions. So she was like getting out there hanging with Missy and them. And so she was around Jay, and Jay was flashy and talking about this and all these ideas. And then she sees Dame. And Dame is silly and just all the ball of energy. And Jay's kind of like, "You supposed to be like into me, under me and into me." And she was like, "Please." Like, I like Dame. He's funny. So she ended up like going to Dame. Jay never got a chance to make her officially his when he was like, "You embarrassed me like this." Like I went over there and I put my arm around you in the photos and everything. Now you making me look ridiculous. All right. So now all of a sudden it's Jay-Z and R. Kelly. It's like, whoa, where'd that come from? Jay started messing with Kels to get back at Aaliyah. He did that to hurt her. He knew what she been through. She told him. She told him, she told Dame, but like let it go. Don't act on it. Don't act on nothing. Nas knew too. So that's why he didn't even deal with R. Kelly no more. He was done. Even when she left, he was done. So they was at Missy's party and Nas showed up at Missy's party and Puff's there, everybody's there, and Steve Stout and Diddy, they became cool again and they was having communications about what went down and what was the fallout, who slowed things up, all these different notions, right? So they're at this party, and that's when people get to see how a lot of things was moving. Jay came in there with and was basically behind Nas's back, was talking to Nas baby moms. And he's gonna walk up to her and start talking. And Jungle was like, peeped it, and she walked up to him and got a drink and was like, no, it's not a good time. Like, don't do it. You finna get busted. So he turns and burns. So after he turns and burns, what the hell is that? Okay. That's when Jungle thought that was pretty weird. Nas is like, nah, man, ain't nothing. Don't even trip. Because he wasn't thinking about that. But Jay set that up so that Aaliyah would be upset for embarrassing him the way she did by choosing Dame, and now she's dating Dame when Jay is out there taking you, like basically you was his girl, to this party around his friends and you embarrass him. He wanted to pay her back, so he was gonna work with R. Kelly. And then they did the Fiesta remix, and then he did and this is why Dame was like, I don't even understand it. Like, if you cool with a lid, why would you do this record? Then he moves over to, they do the Not Guilty song on the Dynasty album, and all of this stuff started to generate talks of what they wanted to do, the joint album thing. So that was going to be the new swing. That was going to kick off the launch of everything that was on the forefront. Blueprint came out, and at the time they were supposed to be doing. They just got their new deal, so they was really happy. And the first thing to launch this new deal was this joint venture that he wanted to do with R. Kelly, Best of Both Worlds. This is experimental. All these labels are involved. This is gonna blow up, and all the money gonna pour in. So they thought. Then all the accusations come out about Kels, which made Jay had to pull away from the album altogether. No support, no nothing. And that leads us to the second chapter of what's finna happen now. And we gonna go Patreon version only because this is finna get real crazy. So thank y'all for tuning in. Shouts out to KB. Shouts out to every one of y'all in the chat that came over to watch the video. Welcome to HDI TV. Armando Black TV, the Star Report. So now we'll go full Patreon mode. Now you got the setup as into what happened. Now you know why Nas don't deal with R. Kelly, and all of that stuff that went down with them. So now you get into the Jay and R. Kelly situation. You finna see how crazy this is finna get. I'm out.